Cool. Yeah, I'd moved some of my gear on the weekend, so because I was capturing some amps at home, so I had taken my this audio interface home because it's nicer than my other one. I captured my Zinke Trum Electric Thunderbolt at home on the weekend, so that's going to be in the next update. The update after this one as well. All right. The other thing, I really love feedback from people about the new module search. So hopefully, obviously sometimes, jumping to a particular letter and remembering the what's called tags and stuff was fine, but hopefully, that's easier to find. It's easier now to find that stereo cab, quad IR cab, and mono cab are in the same area. This search actually searched the description as well. So you'll find stuff, if you search for something like LFO, you'll be like, oh, why does the chorus external? Why does the flanger, why am I getting LFO for that? Because it says flanger with internal LFO. So the nice thing about this searching for LFO is that previously I was thinking about renaming the looping envelope to fancy LFO because lots of people would ask, I had actual reviews on sites where people were complaining that there wasn't a more advanced LFO that could take external controls. And that is the looping envelope. It does take external CV controls. It's just because of the naming it wasn't necessarily obvious. Whereas now, hopefully when people search for LFO, they'll be like, oh, okay, there's a range of LFOs, which will make some of that stuff more obvious. If you have any particular amp requests, you can now capture your own amps as well, and share those. You can also, if you can find nano models on NAMM Tone Hunt, you can import them. So it takes NAMM format, but you'll have to go to the Amp Capture Poly website and squish it put it in the right package format for Beebo and Hector, because the normal NAMM models don't have the information about the controls, the description, and the image as a little blob, and so that's why there's that thing to write in the descriptions, the metadata about it. So the search system is also for presets as well, so you can still use favorites to find stuff. There's on mine. But you can obviously now search for presets, which hopefully will make that a little nicer. All right, but back to the regular scheduled collection of things. If anybody's got any questions about stuff, Reverbs and Cabs UI browser is what we're working on next, and I also have this big complicated file system update to make updating a bit less scary. So that's on my list as well. They're kind of the things we're working on. But yeah, if at any point you've got questions about this or the update, feel free to ask them. I'll just go on with the normal scheduled thing of, we're running through all the T ones. We now can't jump to T. We can, spin forever if we want to. Through all of these. We have gone through quite a lot of modules now. So from now on, we'll actually just search for them. But you'll see in T, we've got tempo ratio. So you'll notice that there's a couple of different outputs as you're using Beebo and Hector. There's the normal audio output, CEV output, which is things like clocks, and then there's a weird one that you'll see occasionally, which is tempo, which is actually timed like 120 or 98 beats per minute. So tempo ratio allows you to divide those into ratios. So I'll just show a little example of that. And then we'll get on to some of the really fun ones in T. T's got some pretty good stuff. So yeah, maybe I've become too enthusiastic. Tempo ratio. So I'll just explain how to use this one. So we've got some numbers in here. But if we grab two delays using our fancy new searchy system, which, yeah, definitely keen to still get feedback on that. It's all very new. If we grab two delays and a foot switch, so we'll use this for tap tempo. We'll run tap BPM out, tempo, into this one, into our tempo ratio. And we'll put one of these tempos directly out into this delay, and the other one will go through the tempo ratio. And we'll go 1 to 4. So now, when you tempo this guy, and you set these to beats, and this guy to beats, you'll see my tempo for this one is 4 times my tempo for that one. And you can do more complicated things, like 3/4. And you'll notice I have now different ratios between those two. Yeah, so basically it means it's just a really easy way to give you ratios of times. So obviously we can go the opposite direction as well. And now have bigger ones here and smaller ones there. So yeah, it's an easy way to get a ratio between two of your delays. So that's how the tempo ratio works. And there's just a really simple example of how to run that. And yeah, with a tap tempo. Obviously, you can route these out to other things. You can stack you can run extra tempo ratios after that, and all stuff like that. So yeah, that is tempo ratio. Next on our list was the Thru Flanger. Now, this one's got two, yeah. Also, at any point, if you want to ask questions, either about Flat 5 or Beebo or Hector or the thing I'm working on showing at the moment, or other things, feel free to ask. So, Thru Flanger. Let's just connect up some inputs, left in. I'm running mono in and stereo out. So yeah, if you just plug it in, you get nice flanging, Thru flanging. Now you've got some controls. Depth. How depth tone changes over time. Feedback, normal flanger things. And rate will just change how quick that the LFO there is. So yeah, pretty straightforward. Yeah, so that's Thru Zero Flanger. There's, it's a pretty normal flanger. I don't think there's anything crazy. Well, there's a couple of different flangers. And obviously, you can still build flangers yourself if you just want to use a delay and flange like that. Just use a short, you can also use a short delay. But this one obviously does, some fancy stuff. Which is why we've got specialist modules as well as the basic ones. So that's flanger. Next on our list, oh, okay, yeah. Time stretch. Okay, yes, we have this next module, time stretch, is something that I've mentioned many times. That was meant to be a pun. And yeah, it's a very, very powerful module. So I fundamentally recommend this one for any time you want to do pitch shifting. So yeah, if you've got any pitch shifting needs, I would recommend trying out time stretch. And so this is another one based on mutable instrument stuff. It's all got the same kind of parameters that a lot of the other ones do. So I'll just connect these guys up, run this one. Do I want to run this one? It's got a blend control in it, so we might just run this direct instead of running it through a wet dry. So yeah, we have got a blend here. So my dry is pretty quiet there. But yeah, so yes. The main thing is the position control and the pitch controls and size are very interactive, so you get very different results. So if you want to use it as a pitch shifter, you need to set them in particular ways. So just, if you're doing that, just remember that's one of the big things you need to think about, is how we set up those. So if we run into there, if we go, so we're sounding pretty delay-ish there. So it's basically a nice delay on that setting. Yeah, pretty straightforward, like nice sounding, normal kind of delay, right? If you start pushing up diffusion, you'll get those repeats blended in. And of course, feedback does what you would expect. Feedback gets pretty hectic if you push it up. Feedback pretty rapidly starts to get crazy if you get further from these edges. So definitely be slightly scared of the feedback control. But when we start to get to the fun stuff is when we can use size and position along with pitch. You'll get into lots of your, pitch shifting. So we're getting pitch shifts there. So if we turn down our feedback, we're getting that straight pitch shift. If we turn down change our position, see now we're getting a pitch, instead of grabbing a large section and pitch shifting it, because that's kind of the granular magic that time stretch is doing, we're now grabbing right from the start, so it sounds like an instantaneous pitch shift. And we're pitch shifting up the, we can of course pitch shift down too. Maybe you two here. And this will track nicely because it's not actually doing anything pitch, it's not doing detection. Yeah, so you'll see that that's doing quite nicely. You'll see, so that, yeah, that's pitch shifting down. Pitch shifting down always works more smoothly than pitch shifting up, even if you're doing a really huge pitch shift like this. So yeah, I'm pitch shifting 2 octaves down there, and it still sounds really nice, well, as far as pitch shifting goes. Whereas when you start to pitch shift up, up always sounds, to me, less authentic than down, especially for the really big pitches. So yeah, so that's running it as a basic pitch shifter. What I've just done here is the position control is there and the feedback is down. Size will change things as well. How far am I pitch shifting up? Yeah. See, as I've changed the size parameter, it changes pretty much how much artifacting you get in your pitch shifting, which may or may not be what you want. So you'll see that this is much more artifacty, especially as we gets kind of bit crushery. Gets bit crushery there, and then once you get all the other way direction, it sounds nicer. And then down always is cleaner, but still you'll get more bit crushery at this end. But yeah, down is always going to be cleaner. So yeah, that's just using it as a pitch shifter. But obviously pitch shifting is just, you know, one of the things time stretch does on higher feedback settings. See, I'm getting blended kind of pitch shifted delays there. Because of the position, they're really short bits. And see that cleaner now that I've changed that? So you've got that option of and you see now I've frozen that. and it'll just stay frozen for all of time. Obviously, you control that by MIDI as well if you want, or for any other control thingy, CVs as well. It's got inbuilt reverb that sounds kind of like garbage. Algorithmic reverbs. As you change the grain position starts point, gets more delayed. Obviously, these ones end up sounding like it's a kind of an instantaneous, soft melding, whereas this one sounds much more like actual just delays. Oh, I didn't mention spread or filter. Filter is again a low pass, high pass blend as you go either direction. Spread is all about how it spreads in the stereo field. So as you control that, you'll get different stereo behavior, whether it's more mono-y or more bouncing around the stereo field more. Obviously, that gets pretty hectic at the higher pitches, and this will go. Which can be kind of fun. And obviously these are all. So you can see why time stretch is a very powerful module. Also, this is just me changing the knobs like this. The great thing about time stretch is all of these knobs are, or these controls are all modulatable. So you can connect something like the looping envelope or an LFO or something like that, ADSRs, to every single one of these parameters and control them over time, which can really get into the fun stuff. So, yeah, fundamentally recommend play with the time stretch. It's good. It does fun stuff. So yeah, that's time stretch. And we don't have that many in T actually, so I'm just going to pick up through them. Toggle, turntable, stop, and twist delay. All right, there's actually some good ones still left. Did I actually add this? Yeah, I did. Okay. Toggle. You'll notice it has no controls. Toggle just changes its value every time it gets a trigger. So if, it'll be on and then off every single time it gets a trigger. So if you've got something that's pulses and you want to transform it to gates, then you can use the toggle. Because it'll hold over that period. So you can use something like that. Or if you want to have if you're sending out instantaneous ons and offs with something like this, you want to hold them instead, the foot switch module has a built-in one of that, but maybe you're using a control that doesn't, then the toggle can be useful for that. So that's just a, holds on, switches between on and off each time it gets a trigger. Pretty straightforward. Then we have Turntable Stop, one of the traditional favorites in the Beebo family. Has been here since early on and is universally loved by me. Turntable Stop. What does it do? So you're playing, you strum, goes and turns off. So if you turn that up, you can change how quickly it decays, how quickly it lasts for. So yeah, you might want to go somewhere in the 1 second kind of range. That's Turntable Stop. Obviously, you can connect this up to a foot switch easily. You can either add a friend the foot switch module, or you can bind it to MIDI using the sum trick that I showed you last week. We just add a sum module. But if you connect this one up to there, connect the value out to pull the plug. And there you go. That is Turntable Stop. It's pretty straightforward, really, that one, but it's fun. And remember, you don't have to turntable stop your whole signal. You could turntable stop just your delays or something like that. And the last one in T, and probably the last one for this week, is twist delay. Twist delay. So yeah, as always, feel free to ask questions and I will answer them. Also, happy splatter that you like the sound of the time stretch. It is a fun module. All right, and this is twist delay. Let's connect up the ends. Again, mono in, stereo out. Even though this is a what's called stereo both ways module. It has a wet dry built in. It's got a dry wet control in it. And this one, I'll show you the basic concept of twist delay is that it has a length of the piece of tape, or whatever you want to think of in your physical analogy of the algorithm, and a speed that it is moving at. Because tape has a certain amount of magnet bits, like amount of magnet holding information per millimeter, as you run the tape, for a longer piece of, for a particular length of tape, as you run the tape slower, you'll get lower quality. So it models that. As you run the tape slower, the delays get lower in quality. So you get these kind of grungy, interesting sounding delays, and that's the whole point of this algorithm, is this changing the delay character. So you see they're already kind of characterful there, but as we reduce the speed, so in the middle is so it'll change direction. Here, we're running the tape fast in this direction. Here we're running the tape fast in the other direction. You'll see that sounds. But as we move towards the middle, and see how the character of those repeats is really different now? So if you want a particular repeat character at a particular speed, you can change the length. So if you have quite a short piece of tape, you'll get a different delay length for the same character. So now we can go to a much we can get to much slower speeds. This might be too slow for me to actually ever hear anything. Oh yeah. See how crunchy those sound? When that one does come back. At some point in the distant future. I'm not that patient, so. See how crunchy and interesting this kind of sounds? So the real fun with twist delay, like many of the modules, is when you start modulating any of its parameters. Twist delay also has some modes in here, which change a little bit of the character about how the different, how the delay filters stuff, basically. But you see, yeah, that's starting to sound quite fun. And now if we grab our friend looping envelope, and we'll just quickly show this. So speed and direction is always fun. Length is fun. Oh, actually, I might. Let's try with speed and direction first. So speed and direction. We'll turn our thing up to something a little bit. We'll turn it into being an LFO instead of a thingy. And what shall this sound like? Yeah, that's pretty intense, but kind of interesting. So let's turn that level down a little bit. Turn this down slower. That's kind of interesting. So see, you're getting really, really complicated, interesting textures very, very easily, really. Like we're just modulating one parameter and we're getting into like pretty interesting textures. And as you shift the point around which you're modulating, you can get really some pretty, obviously wacky stuff, but you can also get some useful stuff, especially if you have more gentle modulation at slower times. Obviously, this modulation can get super slow. And that starts to actually sound a bit like the Turntable Stop. So yeah, if you can do some really do some interesting textures really easily with the twist delay. So yeah, if you've got any questions about things, feel free to ask. Otherwise, I think that's the last of T. And yeah, that'll be the end of this bit was easy with being able to jump. Time stretch, toggle. Oh no, I've still got, yeah, I missed tuner. Trigger to gate is actually interesting too. I'll show you that one. Twist delay. So yeah, sorry, I missed tuner. Tuner does what it says on the box. Like, you can change the tuner preset as well, in case you want to, in case your guitars or your instrument has different level. often you want to make sure that you're getting enough level in there, because sometimes it won't track nicely on quieter signals. So just, yeah, crank that up if you're having a problem with that. Otherwise, yeah, I'll just show trigger to gate. What does trigger to gate do? It takes in a trigger that you've got, and it sends out a gate at a specific length. So you've got some tempo information going in here, a particular at 120 BPM or whatever, 80 BPM, whatever you feel like. And then you say that you want quarter notes at that thing. So it will give you quarter note length outputs from a trigger. So each time you send it a trigger, you get a quarter note length note out. So trigger to gate is, very nice for if you've got something that's just spitting out gate information and you want notes out of it, lengths of notes out of it. For instance, if you're running the chaos controller, you might be grabbing gates out of that, just triggers, and you want to say, okay, I've got you've got a trigger out of the chaos controller, and you're like, okay, I've got this trigger, it goes dunk, but really I want it to have a length to that. Then you use trigger to gate to transform those into a gate. So yeah, you can detect either of those and convert. Yeah, gives you ways to get that kind of control, have patterns at different note lengths, which can be quite useful. So yeah, that's going to be it for today. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Sorry about the audio issue at the beginning where I had things set up wrong. But again, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoy the new firmware, and yeah, give us a yell if you have any feedback. And I will see you next week. All right, thanks very much.